Hi, Timothy Unkert from Unkert Media here. In this video, I want to talk about methods in Ruby. So we're continuing with the Ruby mega tutorial here. And what I'm going to do is create another file. And we're at, I think, number 13. I'm going to create a Ruby file. I'll do 13 A, let's call this, and underscore methods.rb. And let's get started. Okay. All right. So methods are sometimes also referred to as functions. So let's make a note of that. Okay. They accept parameters and you pass in arguments. Okay. So that's some of the terminology you may hear with methods. And like in Python, to define a function, define a method, we use the keyword def for define. And then we give the method name. So I'm going to create a function here or a method that squares a number. Okay. So I'm going to call this function name square. And then in parentheses, I'm going to take in a parameter, which will pass in as an argument when we call the function. And I'm going to call this parameter num. Okay. We don't need a colon like we do in Python after here. In fact, that'll give you an error. We're going to hit enter, and my IDE is going to put this keyword end here. So you start the function, you have your parameters. You don't have to have any parameters coming in here. You could just have empty parentheses, and then you have the end keyword where it ends the function. Now, Ruby is interesting in that in Ruby, you don't need to use the keyword return. Okay, so the last line of a method, if you haven't used the keyword return, is the return. So all I want to do when I square a number is just multiply it by itself. So I'm just going to do num times num here, and it's going to return. It's actually returning num times num. Okay, so that's our function. That's it. And let's call our method. Let's call our method. Okay, so to call our method, we could do just the name of the method, and then we pass in some argument. So let's pass in the argument 3. And if I run this, well, nothing's going to output. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so you see the program finished with exit code 0, meaning there were no errors, but nothing actually came out. Okay, the reason being is we're returning basically 9. Square of 3 is 9, but we're not printing it or anything. So let's actually go ahead and print it. So we'll do puts, and now let's run our program. And now you see we get 3 times 3, which is 9, square of 3. Okay, very good. All right, let's create another function, and I want to show you how you can use the keyword return and how if you put something after that, it's not going to do anything. So let's create a method. We'll call it exponent, and we'll take in a base, and we'll take in a power. So we have 2 parameters. And we're going to just return the base, and we're going to use this double asterisk as an exponentiation operator, and we're going to raise it to the power, right? Now, you can see my IDE is highlighting return, and if I go here and I click on the errors, it says redundant return keyword. So I really only need to write base double asterisk power, and that's going to return it. But I want to demonstrate something here. So if I tried to print something after this, so do puts, and I'll do puts, this line does nothing. Okay. And now if you hover over it, you'll see this warning come up, unreachable code, because it's already returned out of the method here. So this is unreachable code. So if you put anything after the keyword return, then nothing is going to happen. Okay, so let's call this method as is. So we'll and we'll print it. We'll do puts exponent, and we'll do 2 to the third power. So we should get 8. Okay, and if we run it, we get 8. Okay. Now, if I get rid of this keyword return, let's see what happens. Okay, so now we've got a check mark, no warning. Let's run. And we're going to get something, we're going to get just this line does nothing, but we're not printing this. So we're only printing out this. Okay, the last line is what we're returning. Let's just get rid of that last line. Now let's run without the keyword return, and we get 8, which is 2 to the third power. Okay. All right. We could also return strings. So we've been doing some numbers here. So let's create a greeting function. So I'm going to say def, give it the name greeting, if I can spell correctly. We'll take in name as a parameter, and we'll concatenate a string. So we'll say hello, comma, space, plus name, plus, and then just do a period. And again, we do not need a return statement. So I'm going to make a comment. We do not need the return statement. Okay. And now I can do puts greeting, and let's pass in a name. So we'll pass in Tim. Okay, let's now run this and see what we get. Okay, so we get hello, Tim. Pretty cool. Pretty sweet. All right. Yeah. Okay, and let's now do a different function. And this time, I'm not even going to have any parameters. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to create a function. I'm going to name it as print underscore hello. Want to use snake case for functions, so a lowercase with underscores. And we're just going to do puts hello. Okay. Now, and let's say hello. This is from print underscore hello. Okay. And now down here, I can call the function. I don't need the puts because it's doing it within the function. Okay. So I can do print hello. Okay. So let's now run this. And you can see hello. This is from print hello. Now I want to point something out here. Notice that this is not having parentheses. So I could do something like this. And then we're getting like a light warning here. And the light warning is method definition without parameters has parentheses. Let's just do this and without anything. And now we're getting a warning here. What is it saying? No argument call has parentheses. Let's try and run it. See what happens. And it still runs, okay? But basically, this is telling me I don't need these, okay? So I don't need these, so I'm going to get rid of them. In Python, you still need the parentheses afterwards, even if you don't have a parameter and you're not passing in any arguments. So that's a difference with Ruby. So a couple differences here. So one, you don't need the return keyword. Talking too fast. You do not need the return keyword. And if you're not having any parameters for your function, you don't need parentheses. Okay. Let's create another file here. And I want to call this one default parameters. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to do a new file, Ruby file, and it's going to be 013b underscore default underscore parameters dot rb. Okay, get rid of the side here. And let's create a function. So we'll say def, or a method, occupation. So it's going to be a method that tells your occupation. And we're going to create a default parameter. So I'm going to say job equals programmer. And we'll hit end here. And all it's going to do is return a string. So it's going to say you work as a space, because we're concatenating here, plus job, so just the space for formatting, and we'll do a period. Okay. And now let's print and then print the return of the method. So let's do puts occupation, and we're not going to pass anything in. Okay. So let's run this. Okay. So it says you work as a programmer. Okay. So you'll see that even though we did not pass in an argument, it's taking this default parameter job, which is set to programmer. Now I can override this by passing in an argument. So I could do puts occupation and then pass in parameter math teacher. Okay. So now let's run it. And you see that the second line here says, you work as a math teacher. Okay. So let me see here. And I think at this point, I'm going to end the video here. This is a basic introduction to methods. I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, could you please give it a like, as it will help get out to more people. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so. It really does help the channel grow. And finally, check out unreachable.com if you haven't done so already. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.